We are live. We are direct with Joyce Layman, described by Bob Burg as possibly the greatest networker in the world. Meet her and you'll immediately understand why. The author of Your Connecting Advantage. Joyce serves both corporations and business owners and coaches alike, helping them with visibility, leads, sales, using unconventional methods that we will unpack today. In this trust recession, Joyce is at the forefront of finding ways to increase collaborations, to increase connections, which we will break down today in layman's terms. Welcome, Joyce.
Thanks, Jay.
Amazing. Speak to me. What is your connecting advantage? Best-selling book, but unpack it. I've seen the reviews. I've seen people critically acclaimed. Describe your connecting advantage and how people can use it.
A former wallflower in the world of business networking, which a lot of people find that hard to believe. The book is actually the process that I use, which is part mindset and part strategy. And as one who used to have to go to a lot of typical networking events, it seems to have a bad, some people love it, but a lot of people hate networking. So that's why I wanted to flip it on its head. And I don't like to network, but I believe in connecting because your best connections can happen in the least likely places. And some of the most influential people do not have titles behind their names. So that's why writing the book, and part of it was my process. So it's not just about running out and making connections. It's not just about posting and putting yourself out on social. You've got to build your brand. You've got to be positioned properly, because what most don't realize is people make a split-second decision on your credibility when they come to your website or they come to your social profile. So that's where we start. And then I get into the strategic ways that you can build connections. You can create cooperation, which is also a fun thing that I used to do and help people create strategic tribes. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, let's unpack that even further. What are your top 3 ways to connect with potential clients, influencers? Let's get some examples. Let's flesh this out a little bit.
In September, I hosted the More Leads, Less Hustle Micro Audio Summit. And as one who looks at collaborations, what I did is, instead of posting it in the groups where I know people are often asking for experts to participate, I went out, did searches. I kind of went the other direction and found the experts that I wanted to fill certain spots. As an example, Meredith Marsh on YouTube has over 90,000 subscribers to her channel. She didn't know me at all. I did my homework. I reached out to her. She was an expert. Veronica Pullen was the same way. She's in the UK, didn't know me from Adam. In fact, she's the one that said, you need to put this process into a guide because I typically say no and you made me say yes. Meredith said the exact same thing. So those were just 2 of the 6 experts. And part of it is the research that you have to do in this case. And specifically with Veronica, when I was going through her website, her socials, kind of like you did with me, you did great research before you reached out to me. And we've all been that participant of getting a DM of somebody trying to sell us something. And you're like, did you not even go look at my bio? Did you not look at my website? Like books. I have people saying you should write a book. I've written 2. But with Veronica, as an example, and this is where details matter, she mentions her Chihuahua named Teddy, and he's on her website. So when I addressed the email to her to ask if she wanted to participate, I included her Chihuahua, and she's like, oh, it's those details. You'd done those details. So that's one way that you can do it. That's one way that you can reach out to experts. And I will tell you, if you're looking at this, let me preface this. I've worked with folks who've been in a corporate role who are moving over into the online space. So their network may not be in the online space yet, and they're trying to build that. So even if you have a small network where you're at, it isn't about the number of connections. It's about the value of connections that you have, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And one of the things that I teach people, I jokingly call it at conference breakout sessions, is my 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon exercise. We've all heard of 6 degrees of separation with social media. It's typically 1, 2, possibly 3. When I facilitated just simple exercises, what happens is typically we think, as an example, it was a marketing lunch. And the people there, I said, give me the name of somebody famous, either an actor, a singer, anywhere in the world. And somebody said Paul McCartney. There were 50 people in the audience. 2 people had direct connections to Paul McCartney. And part of it is the first one, his best friend owned a restaurant in England, and Paul was in there regularly on Sunday mornings for breakfast. The next one, her mom was a nurse on staff the night John Lennon was shot. She has phone numbers and emails. But too often we think, I don't know that person, and we stop looking. Whereas when you understand how your brain works, when you work in industry, you look in, maybe it's the geographic area based on your business, and you go from out to in. That's what makes those connections easier to find.
No, that's very powerful, well laid out there. So let's see that book of yours. I like the cover actually. Connecting. Yeah, look at that. That's delicious. We'll put the link in for that book. Yeah, for sure. Go and get that book. Tell me, some people might have that imposter syndrome. Hey, if I reach out to Joyce, why is she gonna come on to my summit, or why would she hop onto a call with me? So maybe that piece might be good to unravel in terms of the value proposition. Like how is it positioned? Like, so it's seeming like a exchange of value rather than like someone trying to just take. Like, yeah.
That's what Bob Burg taught me. And if you're not familiar with the Go
Yes.
Giver or Endless, well, for those listening, watching, Go Giver, Endless Referrals, I highly suggest those books. Bob is the best example. I reached out to him on Twitter in 2008, back when I was actually on Twitter. I hadn't gotten on it for business. It was more for the cycling group.
Yes.
But I wanted to pick Bob's brain because I was going to be speaking on making connections at a women's leadership group in Kansas City. And I sent him a direct message on Twitter. He didn't know me from Adam. And I said, I want to get insights that may not be in the book. He responded in 15 minutes and said, here's my email. And so I sent him an email. I know, I had that same look. But he sent me an email. I responded back. He gave me the information and he said, by the way, I'm going to be in Kansas City next week. Would you like to come? It's a private client event. And I said, absolutely. So that's what started a relationship with Bob Burg since 2008. And a year later, we had the chance to share the stage together. So part of it is you've got to be willing to ask and deal with rejection, because a lot of people, I think it is that fear of, if I ask, there's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that I can give. And Bob's like the networking guy. So following his philosophy, and Denise Mills, who's another leadership coach here in Kansas City, she's connected literally 1 degree from anybody in the world because she coaches CEOs in big companies. So Denise was the other one that taught me networking, but she also helped me with the mindset side of it. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, the one thing I want to throw in very quickly, and I actually shared this at a recent breakout session for the FICP conference that I spoke at. Back in 2009, I heard Ursula Burns speak. She was the CEO of Xerox at the time. Ursula told a group of 800 of us that she had moments when she wondered when somebody was going to walk into her office and tell her she didn't belong in the CEO role. The CEO of Xerox said that. And shortly after that, I'm riding on the elevator with the head of HR for Sprint. She said the exact same thing. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's not, to me, I'm like, oh, well, I have no excuses. We're all going to be dealing with rejection. If you're in business for yourself, you're in sales. Even if you're in customer support, you're still in sales because you have something, that you are offering to the people you're talking to. So don't let imposter syndrome get in the way. Be willing to ask. But the biggest thing you want to ask in return when you get done with a conversation to get it out of that you feel like you're taking is, what can I do for you? Always ask the magic question. Is there anything that I can do for you? And don't discount it. You need to write it down, because if your RAS kicks in, that filter that we have in our brain, you might very easily be able to make that connection for somebody.
No, perfect. Well said. And I actually read a good book. I'm not sure if you heard of the book Rejection Proof. You know, about someone who like literally just went on this mission on a daily basis, go and get some rejections, go into McDonald's and ask for a free Big Mac and, you know, all of these sorts of things. Because ultimately just conditioning the mind to understand that yes and no come together just like night and day, uh, death and life, they come together in that respect. So same with connecting and networking. Perfect. Love the insights. Love your tenacity, Joyce, which is powerful. Sales. How do you convert your clients? You know, what do you do? B2B, B2C, like how do you like to convert? How do you like to sell?
It depends on who the client is. I've been speaking since 2008, so the majority of my speaking clients reach out to me. I don't actively market to them, but I have to be able to deliver and back up with what it is that I'm doing. In fact, I have a client that has now hired me 3 different times within their company to speak for 3 different associations in the last year. So part of it on that side, it's one thing. When it comes to when I'm working with coaches, service providers, what I do, like I said, I've been doing this since 2008. So my brand is out there. It's very well established. My message is clear. I had one private client find me via a blog post, and she reached out to me on Instagram. So she went from a blog post to Instagram. Then she started messaging me, and we had to have the conversation because she wanted to see if this information was great. How can she actually, or how can I actually solve her problems is what she was looking at. And that's how she came on board. I have other clients who find me through typically recency based platforms. So I do a couple of things when I am doing marketing, which is different, as you know, than lead generation. So when it's putting myself out there, it's having relevancy based content. Yes, I have a brand on Instagram. I use an Instagram 9 grid, so it acts like a funnel, but I don't spend my time posting. Yes, I have blogs because people can find me on blogs. People can find me on Substack. I have a LinkedIn newsletter, which is long form content, and it adds subscribers. So that is one way that you can start conversations. I also actively reach out to people for collaborations. I don't spam people via DM and say, hey, it's always the message that we get, tell me more about, and then they immediately go to pitch you. I don't believe in doing that. I participate. In fact, I actually teach how to use collaborative bundles, summits, and podcast guesting to build your authority and grow your email list. Because when people come on to your email list as a coach or a service provider, they're raising their hand and telling you that you are speaking to a problem that they have, which shows you that they're at least problem aware in their buyer's journey, possibly solution aware. You just have to develop the relationship to become you aware so they realize you can solve that problem. I do launches a couple of times a year, but yet I also have people, I'm constantly making offers from here's a freebie you can get, hit reply and let me know. I'm looking at the tags that are set up in the automations to see how many people are responding. I do 2 live launches, so to speak, a year with a free workshop, a 3-day lab. I just brought on new clients into my Visibility Society membership, which is my $37 a month membership. It stays closed. So there's more of a, I got to get in when she's opening it. But it's truly through collaborations, bundle summits, podcast guesting, and bringing people into your world consistently. You found me. I didn't find you. You found me. So clearly my message and my brand is out there. So I think that's part of it is people think posting on social media is going to get it done. No. You need to be visible in the right places, and you need to have the right type of content that brings somebody into your world and they want to stay engaged, and then see how this goes.
Comprehensive answer.
Well, yeah, because I hate sales. I've been in sales pretty much my entire career, and I don't like cold calling. I don't like cold pitching. And I believe in an easy type of sale. If somebody can't see that we're a good fit and I have to try to convince them, they're not my client. They're not my client.
Amazing. No, that's well broken down. Yeah. What's your big goal? 12 months from now, what would make you smile, like thinking, I've just rounded off 2026 in a grand fashion.
Well, part of this, I have to preface it with I'm 61 years old. So I'm in a different space than some people who might be in their 40s or 50s. So what I'm looking at is the business that I have and where it is that I want to go as I see myself eventually retiring. When that's going to happen, not quite sure. So what I've already started to do is I have a blend of strategies. So if I look at the end of, I would say probably 2027, probably not 26, because I love what I do and who knows, it may keep going. Between the speaking engagements that I get, I also have my private clients, but what I actually started doing is growing my Substack, which I'm pretty excited about. And that focuses on the very first book that I wrote. And this, I rewrote it and republished it, called Just Another Leap. I wish I had a copy of it. I don't. I ran out. I sold them at a conference. But Just Another Leap, that is the messy middle mindset survival guide, how to get shit done when your brain keeps hitting the same damn wall. And so over on Substack, it's about building an audience, building a following, but yet having low ticket offers and ways that people can engage. And when I get to coach on mindset, it's what I started on in 2008. And it's eventually what I want to get back to. But yet right now, I love the strategy. I love the systems. I love the platforms. So it's kind of like what I'm doing to build up. And then at some point, probably Substack low ticket offers. I've got an Etsy shop. It's setting up recurring revenue in other ways with things that I don't have to touch every day. Building a life you don't have to take a vacation from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. No, that makes complete sense. How do you balance your B2B side, the corporate side with the coaching side? Is it 50-50 or more towards the B2C?
Great question. Typically, well, speaking engagements are 1 to 2 a month. So I jump on a plane, I'm flying somewhere, typically once to twice a month. Once is great. Like I said, I'm not having to go find those people. They're finding me. The rest of the time I have that I'm focusing on my B2C. And that's a combination of private. I have just a handful of private clients. And then I've got my low cost membership. And then, of course, I've got lots of digital offers out there, which once they're set up, I don't have to touch them. The automations are in place and that just keeps rolling in. So it's literally, how am I managing? Like I said, the clients, private clients, it's pretty intensive when I have them, especially if I'm doing done for you work. That means we're rebuilding websites, we're creating new offers and teaching them tech. But I also have my freelancers that I work with because I don't do all of that, if that makes sense. So it's literally just a balance of, and then making sure I don't burn myself out because frankly, I've done that. I think we've all gotten close to that and it's just not worth it.
No, amazing. That is powerful. The title of your book reminds me of a book. Is it The Great Leap? Gay Hendricks? Or
Gay Hendricks has The Big Leap, which talks about
Big Leap,
yeah,
yeah.
The Big Leap. Mine is Just Another Leap, and it was based on the TEDx talk that I did in 2013.
Okay.
So that's initially where it came from. The first book was created for back of the room sales. The second book is all in. It's 400 pages. So think part memoir, part neuroscience in layman's terms, tips. There is swearing, like this is the messy middle, full-on voice, and I race cars as a hobby, so I use the car theme throughout of how to navigate the messy middle.
Amazing. In Just Another Leap, what are some of the mind techniques to retrain the brain and to keep going when motivation is low?
When you understand that 95% of what we do is controlled by our conscious, not our subconscious. That's why, great example, we have New Year's coming up. People are going to set big goals. Some people are going to set New Year's resolutions. Quitter's Day happens the second Friday in January because people don't understand. In essence, it's that comfort zone. It's that internal comfort zone that they hit that will literally make them creatively avoid, also known as procrastinating, the very thing that they want. They won't be able to think past that. And that's why when you start doing the little things that push you outside your comfort zone, like you mentioned earlier, if you're willing to be rejected and put yourself out there, could be as simple as brushing your teeth with the opposite hand and notice what your body does when you feel uncomfortable. Then it helps the other things. It helps you to be able to accomplish the other things easier. Part of it is your self-talk, realizing the thoughts that we have, 50, 60, 70,000 thoughts. There's a lot of data, a lot of stats on the different thoughts that we have a day that we realize. And then, of course, the reticular activating system is woven as well. So when you understand how your brain sees things, like if you're focusing on the best example, you put a kid on a bike, you give them a shove, you tell them don't hit the rock, and they hit the rock in the road, your brain will do the same thing. So are you focusing on the rock or focusing past the rock? It's kind of hard to wrap up 400 pages in a couple of
No,
minutes.
makes sense. Sorry, I just wanted to unpack something. So are you saying that 95% of what we do is based on the conscious mind or subconscious?
Subconscious.
Subconscious, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
95% of what we do is
yes,
controlled by our
subconscious mind.
subconscious. So when you go to make a conscious decision,
Yeah,
then it's the new goal, it's the new
that makes
year.
sense.
Right. It's asking somebody where they see themselves at the end of 2026. If they don't believe it, they're not even going to try. That's that self-efficacy piece that we have. But it's literally everybody's wired the same. We all have this. It's literally how we prime our brain. So yeah,
Amazing.
I've been teaching it since 2008. My training came from the Pacific Institute. They've worked with over 50 million people globally over the last 50 years. So cognitive psychology, social learning theory, in layman's terms, is what I do.
Wow, amazing. And also, we might call you Benjamin Button. That's like 61 looking 26, sister. What is going on? Tell me.
You're very kind. I have to thank good genes. Thanks, mom and dad. That,
Okay.
yeah, just try to take care of myself. So that's a very kind thing to say because 60 was hard. 61 is harder. But, I don't act like it.
No, but you know, what does acting at age mean? Anyway.
Right. I know people younger than me and they're barely moving and I just keep pushing myself. My body also likes to remind me of all the things that I did, like show horses for 11 years and all the falls that I had where sometimes you wake up and you got to be more diligent, I think now about taking care of yourself. So that's the other tip. I was in the best shape of my life at 49 and then I had a couple of injuries. So it's just how do you modify and keep going?
Amazing. Look, I mean, I can see you probably doing some high rocks, paddle, Bikram yoga, all of those things.
I used to do yoga. Bikram I won't do. I don't like sweating that much. But yeah. But you got to find the things that you love. Otherwise, you're not going to keep doing them.
Oh,
For anybody, you got to find, you
which
have
brings
to
me to
find.
my next question. Like, how do you avoid a shiny object? Hey, look, people are making money in AI. I better go there. Like, how do you help your clients, like, sort of kind of stay focused on their ikigai rather than following the noise?
Well, going back to Gay Hendricks, you got to find your zone of genius. You got to find where your unique skill set, it's like where all that fits in. And I have a number of clients who hate technology. So when I talk about simple systems, I try to break technology down. Fortunately, I've had to be my own IT guy since 2008, couldn't build a WordPress site, and now I love tech. But I have clients who avoid it. So do things that you're going to struggle with. It's easier to find a freelancer, somebody you trust. Like I have a website guy. Can I build a site? Of course. I built mine. I built sites, but that's not what my specialty is. I'm great with strategy and some pieces to implement. So no matter what it is, and ChatGPT, I was an early adopter. I was using ChatGPT when people thought it was a typo. When Jasper was actually Jarvis and they were, white labeling ChatGPT, I build custom GPTs. I don't advise that for people because there's a whole learning curve that goes into it. So figure out what your unique skill set is and then build on that. And yeah, I use AI and I have GPTs that my clients use that helps them get the work done faster. But I'm certainly not going to tell them to go build one. Like I said, I try to find the easiest way for them to be able to position, get their brand out. They got to be talking to people. And I'm not saying posting content all day long because you're going to get burned out on that. There's lots of other things that you can do to bring people into your world, but focus on what your zone of genius is. And if the bright, shiny object comes up, then put it on a someday list, but don't have it be your top priority list. Because if it isn't helping you get in front of your audience, create strategic collaborations, and moving you forward, it is a waste of time.
Wow. Powerful, powerful. Great point there. Love what you have been speaking about because, you know, over the last couple of years, I've created this whiteboard system for predominantly female coaches to sell and things like that. And I've been thinking, look, you know, are there people out there that I could maybe partner with in that regard who have these people that want to learn how to sell? And I think you're kind of sparking that sort of interest. Hey, look, these collaborations are important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. How can they get in contact with you? Who are you looking for in terms of to serve and yeah, all that good stuff?
As I said, speaking clients typically find me, associations, companies, service providers. So online coaches could be course creators, service providers in a variety of industries. Then that's where I love to help you through. I've got a low ticket membership, the Visibility Builders Society. And then I also have my group coaching program, the Incubator. And as I said, I have a handful of private clients. Easy to find me, joycelayman.com. You can go there and find all the things. And of course, links to both of my books as well. On social at Joyce Layman as well. Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I'm not on X. I got off of Twitter back, oh good God, probably 10 years ago. So I haven't been doing that, but I'm pretty much everywhere else. So reach out.
Wow. It's always good to connect with an expert, Joyce, someone who just embodies the thing. You are very impressive. It's been glorious to spend this time with you. Thank you for serving.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out.
No worries.
You know how I can help you as well.
100%. God bless Kansas City. God bless the United States of America. Let's go. Oh, that is what we call